Hello everybody, it is PreludeBoy99 and today I'm going to be trying something new. Today I'm going to be doing a new series called Free It Friday, where I'm going to be opening 5 main lines, a premium, and an RLC. So this is something that I want to do every month, near the end of the month, where I just open an RLC for my collection. I open an Elite 64 or a premium, and then I also open 5 mainline castings that I found at my local grocery store, Target, Walmart, Meijer, what have you. And honestly, I think this is going to be a fun thing to do. I think this is something that every collector should do, just to free up some space a little bit. Is just open up some casting. So we're going to start with the main lines, and then we're going to go to Elite 64, then RLC. So let's get on with the main lines. So we're going to start off with the 53 Chevy. Oh wow, that was clean. So it has a see-through hood, so you can see the engine detail, which is really cool. That's kind of the main reason why I bought this. Hot Wheels Tiki Time. I really do like this casting. I'm going to put this guy on the turntable.
One of the biggest standouts for me is the see-through hood. You don't really see this a lot in Hot Wheels casting, and I'm really glad that they brought it back for the 53 Chevy. Hot Wheels has always been good when making 50s cars. They've done a really good job. I know there's another old school car called Purple Passion. It was actually the Super Treasure Hunt. I wasn't able to find that. It was on my hit list of super treasure hunts that I want to find, but I found this car instead, and I gravitated towards it because it has its see-through hood. I also like the graphic design on the side and on the roof, Hot Wheels Tiki Time, and the base color being aqua. It matches with the theme of what they're going with Tiki themed. I believe Tiki is a Polynesian culture, or from what I've researched, it's actually an American culture. Not a lot of people know about this. So overall, I really do like this casting. I think it's a very solid casting to keep in the collection, and I believe that I want to get this car in different colors. If they can come out with a black variant, I would so get that in a heartbeat.
Here we have the Nissan Skyline GTR BNR R32. This is a really nice casting, not only because it's JDM, but because it is a reused casting that we've seen before, but this is from Fast and Furious. I don't remember what Fast and Furious this car was part of. Hot Wheels and Fast and Furious has a really unique history. But here we have the R32 Skyline. It looks beautiful in black, especially with this sparkly paint. My girlfriend can't tell the difference between mainline paint and Spectraflame paint because she's like, oh, but this also looks sparkly. And I feel like she would be fooled too, because this kind of does have this sparkly like quality to it. Let's put this guy at the turntable.
So this is a Fast and Furious screen time casting. I don't remember where I've seen this in the Fast and Furious franchise. I've seen almost all the Fast and Furious movies. The only one I haven't seen was Fast and Furious 6. So if this car was in Fast and Furious 6, then that explains it. I think this casting is a really good casting for custom-made Skylines. You can definitely drill out the base and put some Road Riders wheels and make this a really good casting. I believe there is also a premium version of the R32 Skyline, and I believe it came in a Fast and Furious premium case. So I think it's a good casting. It's pretty cheap, and I think it is a good casting for young collectors or new collectors to customize.
So this is the Dior II, but this is the Teku version. This is the version that was in Hot Wheels Acceleracers. And this is a very popular casting for many reasons. Nostalgia, and there was a Hot Wheels NFT version of this car that's worth a lot of money. I didn't get my hands on that, but I do like Acceleracers, and I remember watching the show when I was a kid, and it was wonderful. I love that show. This is just a basic casting. Nothing too special here, just the paint color looks really nice. Hopefully they do more Acceleracers in the future. maybe they might continue the show.
My girlfriend thinks the Dior II is an ugly car, and I will admit it does look off-putting, but this was the early 2000s, and the early 2000s they made a whole bunch of zany cars. The Dior II is one of them. But this is also a very iconic car because it showed up in Hot Wheels World Race and the Acceleracers. I wasn't expecting Hot Wheels to make the Dior II again, the Teku version, but they did with NFT. And although I don't have the NFT, I'm glad that I actually have the basics version of Vert Wheeler's Dior II from Acceleracers. This is a casting that I can see a lot of people customizing and making it into the screen accurate version. So I honestly do like this casting. It's not as accurate, it's not as colorful, it's pretty bland, but there's a lot of potential here.
So this one's my favorite. It is the Hot Wheels Nightrider kit, but this one has flames on it. This is based off an episode of Nightrider. I actually remember this episode when I used to watch it when it was on Netflix. And I think this might be my favorite casting of 2025. Just having those flames looks really, really cool. I really do like the flames. It would have been cool if they were able to make the body kit from the episode. But unfortunately, I realized that this thing doesn't have the Night license plate, and the interior is not as detailed. I actually had the very first variant of the mainline Nightrider, and it had a detailed interior and had the license plate. So I'll show you that, and I'll show you this on the turntable.
I would love for this casting to make its way into premium. I love Nightrider. I grew up with Nightrider when it was on Netflix. I watched a ton of it when I was a kid. I didn't grow up in the 80s. I'm not that old. But I love this casting. I remember this episode when Kit had to disguise himself. I keep saying it's a him. It's not a him. It's an it. It's a car. But they disguised Kit to be this custom car to catch a burglar that was stealing prized cars. And, you know, it's simply just the Hot Wheels kit with just flames on it. It's just very basic. But hopefully in the future they make a screen accurate version, and hopefully it makes its way onto premium. I still like this Easter egg or this nod to the original TV show by having this casting.
Next we have the 66 Buick Rivera. This is new for 2025. So let's open it up. And since this guy is new, he looks beautiful. I really like the blue interior detail. The 5-spoke wheels also look really nice. Try getting that up closer so you guys can see it a little bit more. I think this is a good casting to put some Real Riders wheels on. That's probably what I'm going to do in the future.
The 68 Buick Rivera is a beautiful piece. It actually makes me want to look at the real life counterpart and just look what's underneath the hood. This is a standout casting that honestly I want to see as a super treasure hunt in the future. I mean, come on Mattel, I will definitely hunt this thing down if you make it into a super treasure hunt. This is a fabulous casting, beautiful. It's beautiful in every way. I can't even come up with the words to describe it. But I think this might be my favorite muscle car casting of 2025. The color is simplistic, yet it's great. It doesn't need to have flames on it or tampos. It's just a simple color, and it looks fantastic.
So those were the 5 mainline castings that I wanted to open up. So we're gonna open up the Elite 64 McLaren M6 GT. I've been waiting to open this up for a while, and I'm gonna open it up now. So here we are. I'm gonna open this in the light box, so that way you guys can have a better look at this thing. Okay, so I got my light box set up. So we are going to free this casting, and I'm going to try not to cut myself because I've definitely done that in the past. I usually try to save the blister, but I always suck at it. Okay, here we have the McLaren M6 GT. This is such a beautiful piece. I think this might actually be the best Elite 64 that I've ever gotten. I think it's already dethroning the Porsche by a long shot. Wow, let me put this guy in the turntable.
Elite 64 knocked it out of the park with this casting. This is by far one of the most beautiful castings I've seen with Elite 64. The wheels, the brake caliper design, the engine bay detail, the lens headlights, there's just so much to appreciate with this casting, and I love that Elite 64 decided to do this. They could have made a Mustang or some other car, maybe another Porsche, but they chose the McLaren M6 GT. And I really do appreciate that they decided to do a different casting than modifying a pre-existing casting that we've seen dozens of times before. The classic orange, I believe it's supposed to emulate the real life counterpart, and I honestly do think this is going to be my favorite Elite 64 casting. I bought this for 20 bucks, and for 20 bucks there is so much detail in this casting. I really wish people would talk about this casting more, but they don't, and it kind of frustrates me because one of the most common complaints that I hear from people about RLC is that there's not enough detail, it's too expensive, it's cheap, especially with the painted headlights and taillights. So Mattel made Elite 64, which is a true 164 line, and they made it with lensed headlights and taillights, with diecast pieces. Sometimes it has engine bay detail, it has extraordinary detail around the casting, and it's $20. Of course, it's going to be expensive with shipping, so it's going to be $20 plus $7, which is like $27, but a lot of the mini GT stuff is at $27 plus shipping, so I believe Elite 64 has a chance to beat the competition.
Okay, so here we have the club membership 2025 RLC. It's going to be a 95 Honda Integra Type R in Spectre Flame Auto Blue. This is the third variant of the Integra. And I just realized this is actually taped in, which is a first. Normally they're not taped in like this, but I guess Mattel was getting a lot of complaints about packaging, so they really doubled down in packaging. I will say that. 2025. And I'm gonna be honest, the badging isn't as creative as the other ones that I've seen. I've seen better patches. And the buttons is pretty cool. I do like the button. And I'm just gonna grab this guy. Save this for later. This thing is beautiful in Spectre Flame. Can't believe it took us this long to get Spectre Flame paint. This thing looks fantastic.
It was a genius move to make the Honda Integra Type R a Spectre Flame Blue to emulate the Honda Civic SI, the very first Honda Civic SI that came out 20 years ago, that came out a long time ago. I can't remember when. But the very first Honda Civic SI came out in this blue. I don't remember the exact color, but I know it was a similar blue like this Honda Integra Type R RLC. I think it was a nice callback to that. I don't know if that's what they were trying to do. Probably not. But whenever I look at this casting, it reminds me of the Honda Civic SI, the very first Honda Civic SI. And it looks great. The color makes the wheels pop out a lot more. I think this is the best casting next to the championship white Honda Integra Type R. This is like neck and neck with the Honda Integra Type R, the very first variant that came out years ago. So this is a collector's car, a club. So this is a club membership car, and I think this is a very, very, very solid club membership car. Of course, it's going to be at $27, which is kind of steep. However, I still like this casting very much.